Wonderful. So we won't need that at the moment. We'll need that towards the end of our practice or in between. So let's sit on something comfortable. Taking a seat, whether that's easy pose or your legs are out, and at this stage you could even lean against a wall. And just lifting yourself tall into your seat. Allowing the shoulders to roll and maybe come forward and backward a bit. And if you can, begin to bring in a little bit of spinal movement as well. I'm starting to really lift through the sternum and round into the back a little. So that's just a rocking movement basically through the spine. And I encourage my shoulders at the same time to move forward and back. Then allow yourself to press the hands into your thighs and just move the body from side to side, and the hands will help here. Noticing where you're holding any tension and where you're feeling quite free in your movement. And once you've completed this, start turning the head for a moment, just from side to side. And please do so very slowly, mindfully, and just noticing if there's any tension sitting in your neck. And of course, we do welcome tension when we find it. We can't just shoo it away. So we're allowing ourselves to feel intention when we notice it. And when you're feeling you've turned your head a fair bit, we'll leave it centered for now. You might choose to close the eyes. I'm still a little bit in this topic of love and opening the heart. And as we were sharing a little bit at the beginning, when we're going out and for example, we are for the masks. We want people to wear the masks. And then someone approaches who doesn't. Aren't we very quick in judging? Well, I'm not excluding myself. We have our thoughts, and even when we don't mean to, we have these initial thoughts when we notice something. It would be the same the other way around almost. If someone is really against masks, they think that everyone else is ridiculous and have their own judgment going on. So it's nice to cultivate a bit of open heart energy. Now let's do that by taking at first just 3 deep full breaths in and out. If you like the movement in a full yogi breath, you could have that. Otherwise, just 3 breaths in and out of your nose. Maybe these out breaths help you to land more deeply within your body. And once you've completed, then I will invite you now to start a sniffing breathing practice, where we sniff in a little bit of air, then a bit more, then a bit more, and all the way until we've filled our lungs. And once we've done so, we'll open the mouth and we'll breathe out very slowly through the mouth. So we're controlling the out breaths, but we're releasing it through the mouth. And we keep it long as well. So let's do that. We'll breathe in. Keep sniffing. And then once you feel completely full, open the mouth. You can even make a subtle ha sound if you like. We'll practice that once more and then we'll bring the arms in. So sniff up as much air, little bits and pieces as you can. And then a long breath out of your mouth. Now, we will continue this same breathing, but we will now bring our arms in. So we will begin with the hands touching in front of the heart space. We keep ourselves nice and tall, and each sniff of breath, the hands will move a little bit further away from each other. So we're trying to time it that once we are full and filled up, our arms are nice and wide. And then when we're breathing out of the mouth, so nothing has changed in the breath itself, we're bringing our hands back into the heart space. And we'll do a few rounds of this now. You don't have to be with my pace whatsoever. Do it at your own. So sniffing the breath in. You finished one, you're starting the next. Now, if it feels right for you, at the end, when you've taken in so much air that you can't fit any more in, hold for a moment. Hold with your arms out wide, your lungs full of air. And then when you feel ready, open the mouth and that slow out breath where you're bringing your hands back into Anjali Mudra in front of your chest. I invite you now for 3 more. If you finish any earlier than myself or others, just sit, eyes closed, and feel, notice. You might allow your hands to rest down once you've completed. Well, I don't know what you are feeling. It's likely that you've expanded a little bit into the heart space, into the lung space with this practice. It might also be that you're feeling quite energized. Now, if this made you feel a little bit dizzy, you've gone that notch too far in either holding the breath or sniffing it in. So next time we might practice that. That would be something to look out for. Encourage you to remove now anything that you had underneath you for sitting, to bring your fingertips behind you and step your feet onto the ground in front of you. Aim for a slight narrowing of the shoulder blades towards each other, keeping the length in the spine, and then beginning to rock your knees from one side to the other, so that you're feeling some movement across the buttocks, but we're also at the same time beginning a light twisting movement. So we keep that very gentle, loosening up through the pelvis. But if you now enjoy, look down and over to the ground on the opposite side, so where your knees aren't. Just a bit of extra movement here. Now maybe coming closer towards mid and upper back. And I'd ask you then to let your knees fall over towards the left-hand side, to lift yourself up, and if it's possible, placing the sole of the left foot against the thigh of the right leg. You can tuck the right foot in if that feels right. Keep your left hand behind you and take your right arm across the back of the hand against the knee and going into a slightly deeper twist. You might close the eyes, taking full deep yogi or ujjayi breaths. Then as you release that, bring the head with you as you swing your right hand fingertips behind, and we will change sides, dropping the knees across to the other side. Again, if that's available, of course. Right foot against the thigh, tucking the left foot a little bit in, right hand fingertips behind, and we're taking the back of the left hand against the knee, and then entering our twists. Let your shoulders be soft, the eyes might close, and we're just staying here for a few more breaths. Then as we release this, bring your hands back behind, and either you're rolling over this side or in my case over the other, and coming up onto all fours. Now I will be taking my socks off. If yours are still on your feet, that might be the moment for you as well. So placing your hands down and your knees separate as we begin the movement from an all fours stance. What I'd ask you to do is take a breath in and lift your left leg. I'm going to turn myself around, left leg. Then swing the right foot a little bit behind, and then lifting the left arm too. So I'm just after length here. This is more of a supported side plank. If your right wrist here feels sore, you could step up onto the fist instead. So if you can open your body out towards the side, using the right foot as your helper for your balance. Now take a deep breath and stretch your left arm over the head and down into your left side toes. And as you're breathing out now, bringing your elbow and your knee closer together, squeezing them in. I know there's a lot of balance going on. Breathe in, extend. So move slowly, give yourself a good stretch. And when you're breathing out, bending elbow and knee and bringing them a little bit closer. There's a lot of core muscles and strength that's created. Inhaling, find length. Exhaling and squeeze them in together. Breathing in, extending. And of course, if you're a little bit slower, a little bit faster, that's fine. Only one more to go. Then extend again, but land your left foot onto the ground and really push down into the outer edge of the left foot. Then bring your hand down onto the floor and lift your heel. If the other hand was a fist, like for myself, spread the hands back out onto the mat. Now your choice of having both knees down, they would be a little bit further back and finding a kneeling plank position. Or to have the toes tucked under and both knees off the floor for a full plank position. Allow your gaze to be down just in front of your fingers, so the neck is in a neutral position. Encourage your tailbone downwards towards either your knees or your toes. Put a smile on. We might then all lower the knees to the ground, and when exhaling, lower down onto the front of the body and untuck your toes. I will invite you to open your arms out wide to the sides and to have the palms of the hands on the floor. On a breath in, lift up through the upper body first. Engage down into your legs, and only if it feels right, lifting both arms off the ground. Be sure that the glutes are lightly on, turn the thumbs a little bit upwards, and shine the open heart forward. Now maybe trying to bring your feet to touch. These are just extensions, nothing you have to do, and if it works right for you, lifting the feet off the ground or the legs off the ground. See if you can stay there. 2 more breaths. Once you have completed these 2 breaths, lower down onto the front of the body again. Slide your hands to stack one on top of the other and rest your forehead there. Let your heels roll apart, and if it feels good, have a wiggle into the pelvis. So a bit of a counteraction in a crocodile. Then bring the hands back by the sides of your rib cage. Lift it up onto all fours. Tuck the toes under and stretch back towards the heels. This is just a brief movement to neutralize the spine. Then come back up onto all fours. Toes are untucked. Now, as we're extending the right leg back, breathing in, swing your left foot a little bit behind. This helps with the balance on the knees. And then extending the left arm over the head. So we're turning ourselves slightly towards the sides, like a side plank in a kneeling variation. And we're finding length now from the fingers down to the toes. And on the out breath, we'll bend elbow and knee and squeezing them together. Inhaling, extending, take your time. Exhaling and squeezing in. Few more to go. Breathe in for length. Exhale to squeeze in. Now I'm very good at counting this morning, apparently. There's 2 more to go. Breathing in, find your stretch. Breathing out and take it in. And once you've completed your rounds, allow your foot to land on the ground. Keep everything extended and really encourage down into the outer edge of your right foot while you're reaching into the fingertips of the right hand. That's to bring some space in. Let your hand lower down from here. We will repeat the experience of a blank, but we'll bring down the forearms this time. So if you're enjoying your knees on the ground, they would again be slightly back, and you would bring your pelvis in line with the rest of the body. Otherwise, you would step up onto your toes. Pelvis is the same though. So we're not poking our hips outwards, that's a dolphin, nor do we let them hang down, which is really not good for your lower back. Instead, we're encouraging the tailbone backwards and slightly down. Don't forget to smile, especially when breathing becomes a little bit shaken. Last breath holding, then lower your knees down. Carefully keep your core on, lower the hips down, and then keep a lift in the heart as you untuck the toes. So ideally we transition straight away into a Sphinx pose. Now your hands will be spread out onto the floor in front of you. You will use the forearms to get an extra lift for the chest. You would start to engage into the legs, Squeeze your glutes. And for yet another breath, enjoying the openness across the chest. And on the next out breath from here, start to engage your pelvic floor and lower abdominals and see if you can draw lower belly pubic bone just off the ground. This may or may not happen. That's not important. It's important the muscles that you're engaging to aim for this action. So not important if they're actually lifting. And if you're not trembling at the moment, you're doing something wrong. Really get into that lower abdomen. And then we'll release it. We'll spread our elbows out, stacking the hands again, maybe in the other way around. Resting the forehead onto stacked hands, touch your big toes, heels falling out, and then that slight vibration or movement into the pelvis to help ease. Let's separate the toes again. Bring the hands down by the sides of your rib cage, all fours, tuck your toes, and again that brief stretch back to counteract the back bend. I'll ask you to keep your hands spread out, your arms long, and peel yourself off the ground for a downward facing dog. Take a moment to arrive in the steadiness of the down dog today. And taking a couple of deeper breaths in and out just to notice if we've created enough space for you to find this beautiful stillness in the down dog. And again, no judgment towards yourself. If you feel you need to move, do so from this very informed place. So just pedaling out the legs isn't good enough. You might need a stretch here or there, and I would ask you to find a way of stretching into the spaces where you're feeling a little bit stuck. And then walking your feet towards the top end of the mat. Knees will be soft. Weight will be lightly forward within the feet. And I would love you to let the head hang if that's possible and feel into your whole back line. How is this feeling? Then take your ball, wherever it is, or whatever you're using, and place it in front of your feet and start rolling up into standing. From the standing place, with the ball right near you, if you've got a wall or like myself, a shelf near you, you can take a hold here, just with one hand or a few fingertips. Now let's start stepping one foot, and I start with the ball of the foot onto the ball or alike and just squeezing down into it. So basically we're stepping some weight onto it. We'll change the position and we're squeezing down again. So you're stepping onto this ball. And we'll do that until usually 2-3 steps until we've crossed over the ball of the foot. And then we will take it deeper into the arch of the foot. And we'll find our spot. We'll start inner, outer edge, doesn't matter. Stepping on it, releasing it slowly, finding a new step as stepping on and releasing. And I hope that works with replacements of balls just as well. So you're feeling you're getting a bit of a massage under the sole of the foot. You're moving all the way with this action across the arch as well. And you will likely notice that there are some points that really feel unpleasant. This speaks volumes about neglecting your feet. So once you've completed this on one side, you will step this foot onto the ground, and it's very likely that there's now a huge difference between the sensations under the foot you've already completed to the one that hasn't done that yet. And once you've noticed this, very simple, then start on the other side. Start again along the ball of the foot at first and make your way down towards the arch of the foot. So how to do this? We're stepping the weight onto our ball and then we're releasing it, changing position, stepping onto it and releasing again. And we'll do that all the way across the foot. The only thing that we may spare out here is the heel. Now, again, once you have completed this, you will move your ball to the side of the mat. We will use it later again. And we will stand on both of our feet. And please do never rush anything. Now, I've invited you to feel into your back line. The back line starts underneath the soles of the feet. So we've worked on it. Let's bend the knees and fold back down into a slightly supported forward bend. If possible, let the head hang down. Keep your knees in a bend and maybe straighten them only to the extent where the belly is still on the thighs. And maybe we can notice here a bit more space across the backs of the legs. Maybe our forward bend is a little bit deeper. Now let's curl back up into standing slowly. We're using this space and creating some more. As you inhale, lift your arms and your left knee. Then make fists of fire as you're breathing out and step this back into a lunge with your elbows coming into the sides of your waist. We will repeat that. Inhaling, lift your arms up and your knee. Fists of fire, elbows pulling in, strong fists, and we're stepping this back into a lunge. Let's see if you want to do this faster. Inhale, exhale. And you can breathe out of the mouth, in through the nose if you like. Now inhaling, lifting knee and arms. Exhale, same arms, but kick out through the front and wobble with me. Breathe in, lifting again, steady your gaze. If you struggle with the balance, exhale, pull in, extend your leg. One more only. Inhale, lift, reach. Exhale, pull and stretch. Bend your knee. Release your foot down. We will continue same movement, other side. Let's breathe in. Lift the right knee and your arms. Fists of fire, and we're moving very slowly for the first two, stepping it back into a lunge. See if you can stand nice and tall, really land on the foot behind you. Then inhale, lift your arms, your knee, release the fists. And as you're breathing out, bring the fists back in, elbows by the sides and landing into your lunge. If you prefer it slow, that's fine. Otherwise, you might go a little bit faster. And then we will change the movement. Arms stay exactly the same. As you pull in now, extending the leg to the front. So if possible, spread your fingers as you're reaching outwards, and then the fists again as you're extending forward. So multiple things happening here at the same time. Steady gaze helps with the balance. And then we'll just bend the knee, land the foot, and release it. Let's take one deep breath and just stretch the arms up fully. If you like, you can find Charlie's Angel's Mudra over the head, so interlacing, index finger touching. And we'll stay with the extension for a moment. So let's bend the knees just out of the lock, in case you did lock them. Draw the tailbone down towards the floor. And then begin to lift a bit more through the heart. But keep your tailbone drawing downwards. So we're not leaning into our back, we're actually lengthening the lower back and starting to extend more through the front of the chest. Little counter pose here. And then as you're lifting back up, releasing the arms and relaxing the body into standing. We will go back to our steps that we have just practiced, moving forward and backwards. We might add a little bit to it. Let's breathe in. Lift the left knee again and your arms. Fists and extending forward, your out breath. Inhale, bend the knee, lift the arms. Exhale, stepping back into your lunge. Inhale, reaching arms upwards, lengthen both legs. Exhaling, bend your knee towards the floor. Good. Now let's breathe in, lift the arms and the knee again. And exhale to extend to the front. Inhale, bend and lift. Exhale, stepping back into your lunge. Inhale, extend your legs and your arms. Exhale, pull down. Go for one more. Let's lean forward, reach arms up, lift the knee. Exhaling, extending to the front. Inhale, bend and reach. Exhale, step into the lunge. Inhale, straighten your arms, your legs. Exhale, lower. Now we'll squeeze in a little flow, releasing the hands to the mat, stepping back into a downward facing dog. Let's inhale, roll the spine forward, kneeling full plank, your choice. Exhale to lower towards the mat, untuck the toes. Breathe in, wave up, cobra, up dog. And either just one out breath or another full breath to guide you back into down dog. Land in it, notice your down dog. Likely noticing differences between your sides. And we will of course return to those. Walking your feet forward now towards the top end of your mat. And rolling up slowly when you feel ready. So once we've risen up into standing, shoulders relaxed, and we'll again notice there's a good difference between the two legs, the two sides of the body. Let's begin the same movement with the right leg. Breathe in, lift your right knee, your arms coming up. Returning to fist of fire, extending your leg forward. Inhale, bend the knees, stretch your arms up. Come back to the fists and land into your lunge. Inhale, straighten your legs, reach the arms up, big stretch to the ceiling. And exhale, lowering your knee towards the floor. Reach forward, inhale, lift the knee again. Exhale, extend the leg. Inhale, bend your knee, arms reaching up. Exhale, pulling back into the lunge. Inhale, extend the body fully. Exhaling, pull down back into your lunge. Let's reach forward for the last round. Lift your knee and arms. Exhale, push forward with the leg. Inhale, lift the arms, bend the knee. Exhale, stepping back into your lunge. Inhale, straighten the arms, the legs. And breath out to lower deeper with the knee towards the ground. Then bring your hands back down. Step your foot back into a downward facing dog. And come through a flow. Just as a counteraction, we will this time hold our back bend for a couple of breaths. So once you've chosen yours, just stay here, 2 full breaths. The humming is coming from outside, if you hear it. Once you have completed, either come straight to down dog or go with an extra breath, your choice. And then land again in your downward facing dog, beginning to notice the sensations there. I will ask you now to either be very playful or to be very gentle. So you can choose now to walk your feet forward to come to sit, or you could spread your knees out and jump forward to sit. It doesn't matter which one you are choosing. Finding your way into a seated position at the front end of your mat. Now, please have your ball near you as we will come down to the floor. Now, we might have to step our feet onto the ground in between and have some grip on the mat. So just have your socks and jumpers, everything near you that you might need. Lying yourself down onto your back. Relaxing into the back for now. Feet are stepped onto the ground, arms released. And we will lift our left leg up. We will take a hold somewhere behind this leg and flex the foot. And then a breath out as we're drawing this leg in towards our body. Now you can choose to just simply hold here and enjoy a stretch. Or you could bring your right hand loosely behind your head as a support for the heaviness of the head. Reach the left arm up. Take a breath to lift and maybe touch the toes. Breath out just to settle a little. Lifting up to tap to the toes and settle a little. Lift, release, lift, release. Now let's change the hand behind the head. Crossing your arm over as you're reaching up to the outer edge of the foot and release again. So slightly different than before. Our gaze stays up. The head might be heavily resting in the hand. That is fine. Just no chin tuck, and we're reaching across towards the outside edge of the foot. One more after this one. And then releasing. Placing your left ankle now on top of the right thigh. Allow your knee to naturally roll open and take your arms by your sides with the palms touching onto the floor. Now your right foot here is of importance. Place it so the toes are facing forward and away from you. Then inhale, tilt your pelvis. And as you're breathing out, squeeze the buttocks and push the hips up. If this is too much, as I said, you can stay on the ground or you can step the left foot to the mat. And then release slightly, inhaling and squeezing and pushing up, exhaling. So breath in, lower the pelvis a little, and breath out, pushing it back up. Just one more. Hold up there. And then slowly releasing down. Still keep your ankle on the thigh if you can. And try to control the movement down with as little sideways movement as is possible. Then step your left foot back onto the mat. Right leg is now extending towards the ceiling. You can take a hold behind your leg, flex the foot, and have an out breath as you take the leg in towards you. Very good. Now, let us, know that I don't get it wrong, take the right hand behind the head again and lift the left hand. Is that correct? It's not. We'll change it. Will be the other side. Left hand behind the head, right hand reaching upwards. Now I'm here. Lifting the upper back and then reaching towards the toes and releasing again. Lifting up, maybe even a tap to the toes if you can reach, and lower. Keep the head off the ground and resting into your hand. The gaze is upwards. This is our last one here. Then change the hand behind the head and cross your arm over. Again, it's a reach up, but across and lower. Reach, lift, and lower. A few more to go. So our next one is our last one. And we will release the upper body, placing the ankle now on top of the thigh, letting the knee roll open and bringing the arms close in by the side of the body and the palms are facing down. Pay attention and adjust if necessary to your left foot. So the toes are pointing forward. And from here, we'll inhale to tilt the pelvis. Now let's squeeze the buttocks on the out breath and lift it upwards. A movement here. Inhale, release the hips towards the ground. Exhale, squeeze the glutes to lift the hips upwards. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze to lift. Keep going like this. Pausing at the top and very slowly rolling down. Again, aim for as little wobble and sideways movement as you can manage, releasing your spine down. Once that has landed, stepping your right foot onto the ground. Now we come to something a little bit more pleasant or relaxing, however you see that. Take your ball or ball replacement for it. We will start with the left side. So roll a little bit to the right and pop your block under the glutes where you feel a fair bit of discomfort. Now take your time to find this nasty spot. It might take a moment. You can place the ball anywhere on the mid glutes, the upper glutes, whatever feels like there's a really sore spot, you will take exactly that spot. I think I found one now. And keep your feet at about hip distance. If you have a need to push the ball into place, you could do that. Otherwise, just relax your arms. And allow the knees, if they need to, like in my case, to roll a little bit to a side. Not all the way, just so you can get the pressure into the ball and have that awareness that this is extremely unpleasant, ideally. Ideally, you are in a little bit of pain right now. Trusting that this is a good pain to let go of. rather than a nasty pain that you're wanting to escape. So allowing to tap back into full deep yogic breathing now. But you may keep your awareness with the pain that you're causing to yourself right now, only to feel pleasure in the end. If you have a feeling that the pain got a bit less, keep everything as is, but wiggle your feet out to the outer edges of the mat. And the ball is still in the same spot while you're letting your knees come a little bit inwards towards each other with the feet really wide. And then try and relax again into that same spot. Breathing deeply, maybe the eyes are closed. And then release it all together. Take the ball out from underneath this side. Wiggle your feet back to about hip distance. And then roll your knees a bit to the left so you can take the ball under the right buttocks. And lift it up as many times as you need to. And just try and find a sore spot on this side. Doesn't have to be in the same area at all. Could be anywhere else, just wherever you feel it is sore, it is feeling completely stuck, it's painful, that's your pain spot, you will rest over it. Allowing the feet to stay at about hip distance and beginning to place all the weight into the ball. Knees could be in a slight angle. Usually helps to target exactly the right area. And then breathing deeply. This, by the way, is a nice release from our fist of fire, lunging, balancing. But in general, the glutes are a space in which we accumulate tension. We also need to have them strong, of course. There's a mix of both. Now, as you've been resting over the ball, keep it in this place, but wiggle your feet now out to mat distance. And then let the knees come in towards each other, not changing the place where the ball is, and then breathing here again. So when we're creating a lot of tension in the glutes, it is oftentimes then radiating as in pain into your back and down the legs. So all these techniques that we've been practicing today with the ball are well worth making a more regular habit. Let's release the ball from underneath. Bring your feet back to the pleasant about hip distance apart and allow yourself to relax. I thought we might bring a slight neck release in as well. So if you're feeling with your fingers up at the side of the neck and then sliding back to where the head actually starts, you might want to place a ball into that space. Now, I prefer to keep a hold with my fingertips of the ball and actually press it into this place. It's, of course, far away from what we felt in the glutes lately. So what you could do here is in very slow motion, just turning the head. Of course, it doesn't get very far, but we're actually leaning a little bit of weight into the ball and then releasing it as we're turning the head. You might do so for 3 to 5 times before you're releasing the ball again and then taking it across to the other side. But you're aiming to find that same spot, so different to what we've done with the glutes. We've got a particular spot Oftentimes where we're holding tension, use your fingertips to push the ball in or keep it in place. And if this is enough, of course, you don't have to move. But if you feel movement is okay, keep it very small and extremely slow, leaning weight in and releasing it away from the ball. And same as on the other side, go for about 3 to 5 rounds or breath. And then once you've completed, you can remove the ball, place it somewhere to the side, grab everything that you want to wear, and then enter straight into Shavasana. Supported or unsupported, that's absolutely your choice. So you might want to get yourself warm, then closing the eyes. And I would actually ask you, unless you have your own preference in Shavasana, to bring the awareness within a still body now to the neck and the area where this ball was in contact on both sides, and just feeling into the sensations that might be there. Maybe there's a sensation of warmth, of space. And then let your mind travel down, just either side of your spine, all the way from the neck to the lower back. And then finding these sensations in the buttocks. They would have fainted a bit more than in the neck. Just notice if you can still feel something there. And then let your mind wander right down into the legs, to the soles of your feet, and feeling into the sensations across the feet. And then let go of all of that and relax the mind as well, maybe into the pattern of your breathing. Love is like a baby. It needs to be treated tenderly. All too rarely do we stop to let ourselves realize what a gift love is. We get so bound up in our expectations, wants, and needs that we lose track of what is being given to us. We're lucky to have the love of animals, unconditional love of a dog, or the conditional love of a cat, a horse waiting for contact with us, or whatever else we might experience there. How honored we are when a child chooses to love us. It's like a precious gift. And we have a great responsibility to treat it tenderly. Have we treated the love of our parents tenderly, even if they did not meet our expectations? or the cultural norm of loving? Have we been able to see that given who they are and their experiences, they might have done the best they could? Are we open to being tender with love whenever and wherever it finds us? What ways can you improve your tenderness with love, including yourself? Allow your breath now to start deepening. Invite some movement to your body. Allow stretching. And take yourself back into a seated position when ready. We will touch the hands together in front of the heart space. And I will invite you for one very last round of the sniffy breath in and the breath out of the mouth as we bring the hands together. So let's begin. Maybe holding at the top of the inhalation when the lungs are full. And then the breath exits the mouth as you're drawing your hands back together in front of the heart space. Have a very gentle bow of the head, acknowledging your ability to love. And maybe choosing to, particularly today, extend that out into the world. So we acknowledge each other with a light bow. Namaste.